Relieve, respond, revive. WSFL-TV presents The Rebound, South Florida.
Whether parents like it or not, whether our leadership likes it or not, this is a life and death issue.
The back-to-school debate continues as local school districts lay out their plans for the start of the new year.
The end of the school year last year was chaotic and crazy.
Some parents nervous about the challenges remote learning may bring, while others are concerned about their kids' anxiety and their adjustment to the upcoming school year.
It's a very different situation if a child is worried I'm not going to have my best friend with me in my little pod.
We know the upcoming school year will be different. We're here to help you with reliable information as you prepare to send your kids back to school. The Rebound South Florida starts right now.
Like so many Florida parents right now, I don't know what to do. I have two young, healthy little boys. Do I risk sending them to school and exposing them to the scary virus? Or tear my hair out by trying to school them from home while I'm working under deadline every day? So I decided to ask lawmakers, what are you doing?
Florida politicians on the record about their own school plans amid the ongoing pandemic.
I would not have any problem having them in school.
That's what the governor said before adding his children aren't actually old enough to attend school yet. But U.S. Senator Marco Rubio's children are, and when recently asked if he's planning to send his kids back to a brick-and-mortar school in Miami,
the answer to that question is yes.
Go down the list of Florida lawmakers, and their upcoming school choice seems to follow their politics.
We think there's a lot of reasons kids go to school beyond just the education factor.
Republican Senator Jeff Brandes is the father of four who represents Pinellas County.
What are your plans for your own children, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so we're sending our kids to school next year.
Brandes said his children all go to a religious private school and admits he and his wife are still on the fence about their youngest.
As a little boy who's 6 years old, I can't see him wearing a mask every day to school, and that being something that he does successfully. So we've struggled with that one.
No struggle for Democratic Senator Oscar Brannan, who represents parts of Miami-Dade and Broward counties, hardest hit by the coronavirus.
We are the epicenter of the state that is the epicenter, makes this probably one of the most dangerous places in the world to send your child back to school. I don't feel comfortable sending my kids back to a closed up school.
Brannan, one of three Democrats who told us they're not sending their children back to campus this year, instead opting for distance or virtual learning.
Should the numbers change drastically in the next 4 to 5 weeks, then I would reconsider.
Some school districts have already made that choice for parents. We asked about 100 Florida lawmakers about their families' school plans. Less than 20% responded. Of those with kids in grades K through 12, the majority who responded, Republicans, who told us they are sending their children back to campus. This was not an easy decision for us, stated Republican Representative Nick DeSigli, whose kids attend a private school on Florida's West Coast. Democratic Senator Jason Pizzo of Miami told us he's undecided, but as of today would not be comfortable sending his kids back to campus. And Republican Representative Jackie Toledo wouldn't say either way, stating in part, regardless of what my children's schooling options are, parents want to see their children safe, and we should work towards returning our children to a safe and healthy learning environment.
All the lawmakers we spoke with agreed the state has to offer families options and only families can make the right decisions for them. Katie Legrone, WSFL TV.
When teachers and families were thrust into e-learning at the end of last year, many said it felt like a disaster. The first challenge was getting devices and Wi-Fi service to students who needed it. Then teachers spent their spring breaks trying to shift an in-person curriculum to online. Many parents feeling helpless on how to help teach their kids or guide them on assignments. One Bay Area mother says she's choosing e-learning for the fall, but it won't be without challenges.
We have a big family, so in order to follow a bell schedule on e-learning, every child will have to have their own device. Every child will have to have their own quiet place to be on school.
But school districts across the country now saying they've made sweeping adjustments to remote learning. The updates vary from school district to school district, but some of the biggest changes you'll see are teachers who are only teaching remotely. That means they can be more dedicated and attentive. They're also using a curriculum that's meant for online but can be transitioned to in-person learning. Also, many districts are providing extra training for teachers on online platforms and also amping up IT support teams to help parents navigate technology issues. And keep in mind, what an e-learning day could look like for your child really depends on their age. An elementary school child will have much more guidance from a live teacher, where a high schooler or a middle schooler will have more time to work independently. In Tampa, I'm Lauren Rosella, WSFL-TV.
COVID-19 has brought on a lot of stress to the community. The crisis has disrupted routines, which can cause a lot of stress in kids and teens. Today, I speak about what parents can do to help their kids who are struggling to adjust.
The little kids, most elementary school kids, toddlers, right, seem to be a little bit more resilient and handling it a little bit better. But teenagers and tweens, it's a little bit harder, right? Because they're very social beings. That's part of this developmental state.
Dr. Georgette De Jesus, psychiatrist for South Florida Integrative Medicine, says there are 3 things to keep in mind when talking to your kids. First tip is to talk to them at their level about the coronavirus and what the upcoming school year may look like.
When they're toddlers, it might just be like, you're going to stay with mommy and daddy at home and learn from here, and we're going to help you. Right, when they're older, you can go into deeper conversations in terms of why that is, right? In terms of, well, the virus is still there. We need to stay safe. We need to stay at home, or we're going back to school, and this is how school could be looking like.
Second, tell them why it's important to wear a mask.
Talk to them like they're in control, right? So if they wear the mask, it's sort of something they can control in order to help other people and help everybody get through this quicker, right? So the more you wear a mask, less people will get sick, and then they'll do better.
Third, find a way to connect with their friends. According to Dr. Georgette, staying social but physically distant is important.
Talk to them about how they want to reach out to their friends, right? And which friends they want to have communication with, and maybe arrange some either virtual play dates or even some front lawn picnics, something like that, right? Just to make sure that they can see some of their friends.
It's a lot of highs and lows throughout the days. Just getting accustomed to spending so much time online. If I want to talk to my friends, if I have to do my work for like my internships or my classes.
Current student at Princeton University, Gabriella Carter, says the amount of time she spends online is mentally exhausting, but she knows she's not the only one struggling and is trying to stay positive.
You're not crazy, you're not alone at all, and you're not weak for feeling these feelings or taking the big step to tell somebody else about how you're feeling.
Dr. Georgette said the key is communication and being honest with your kids. If you want to reach Dr. Georgette or to find all of these tips, head to WSFLTV.com and click the Rebound.
Still ahead on the Rebound South Florida Unemployment Check-In. The steps our team is taking to make sure Floridians are getting their benefits from the state. What we're finding out next.
I'm Kylie McGivern. As the future of federal unemployment checks hangs in the balance, leaving out-of-work Floridians to wonder if those $600 weekly checks are gone for good, we checked in with one woman who had yet to receive anything.
Remember Robin Taylor?
Worrying about how the bills are going to get paid, depleting my savings account.
She was the recipient of a $200 gift card from an anonymous donor.
Oh my God, thank you so much, whoever she is, thank you. Thank you immensely. It's so appreciated.
The donor simply asking us to find someone in need, like she once was, still waiting on unemployment checks, and to pay it forward with kindness. After 13 long weeks out of work without a penny to show in unemployment money, we got this news.
I was 100% paid in full for everything.
What was that feeling like?
I can't describe it. I mean, it was overwhelming. It's been a relief. It's like the weight of the world kind of has been lifted off my shoulders a little bit. I'm just tickled to death that it worked out for the best and I'm able to do something to help somebody else.
We contacted 5 random people in the last week to check in from our list of 24,000, and 2 out of the 5 responded. 1 is still waiting on unemployment checks, more than $1,800 worth, and filed an appeal because only one of the 2 employers was listed. A second person is also still waiting on checks and says they only received 1 state and federal check over the course of 2 months. Online now, we have a link where you can send us your information if you're still waiting on unemployment money. I'm Kylie McGivern, WSFL TV.
more than being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's just being in a hard place constantly and not even having a light at the end of the tunnel.
Parents struggling to balance work life and home life. Next on the Rebound South Florida, a closer look at laws that could help you keep your job if you're forced to stay home with your kids. And if students do end up going back to the classroom, we want them to be ready. An expert with advice on how to prepare your child to wear a mask at school all day. Relieve, respond, revive. WSFL TV presents The Rebound South Florida.
What happens if your child tests positive for coronavirus and can't go to school? What if there's a COVID outbreak at your child's school and you can't go to work? There are some laws that can help protect parents as a new school year begins, and it's important to know your rights.
And the yard's been a godsend.
Okay. The constant back and forth of a summer consumed with COVID
This has been a summer of popsicles.
has left Acacia Clark and her 3 boys stuck in a state of uncertainty.
I made a decision early on that I was going to try to keep working, and it's been mostly leaving them to their own devices.
This realtor and her husband are both still working, but juggling her business and the kids has proven nearly impossible.
My focus, for my work has been abysmal. So I haven't been able to focus. I'll get in, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, but it's very stressful.
As empty classrooms start to fill back up, Acacia and other parents across the country are stuck, wondering what might happen if their kids catch COVID and they can't work. Chris Fuedo is an employment attorney.
If kids can't go back to school, parents can't go back to work full-time.
In March, Congress passed the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. It gives parents 2 weeks of paid sick leave if you find yourself having to quarantine. Parents also get 2 weeks of paid sick leave at 2/3 your regular salary if your child's school or daycare shuts down because of COVID. And it guarantees 10 weeks of leave at 2/3 your salary if you need to take care of a sick child. Those benefits will run out on December 31st. Another big problem facing parents right now, many have already exhausted all of their leave. So if you do find yourself having to ask your boss for more flexibility, the best advice is to have a plan.
Come up with your plan and say, hey, listen, this is the most that I can do for my employer, or this is how I can do everything I need to do for the employer while still be there for my family.
It's more than being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's just being in a hard place constantly and not even having a light at the end of the tunnel.
And with a new school year on the horizon, Acacia Clark and parents everywhere are trying to manage whatever the pandemic throws their way.
This is a new normal for years to come.
Also important to remember here that under the Coronavirus Families First Response Act, it is illegal to fire someone because they have to stay and take care of a loved one or a child who might be sick with COVID. For WSFL TV, I'm Chris Conti reporting.
This school year may be much different than what we're all used to, especially when it comes to wearing masks. But local experts tell us there are things you can do to help your kids stay safe.
So for a kid, it's really going to be whatever mask they'll wear.
Dr. Rebecca Plant, a pediatrician with USF Health, says getting your child to actually wear a mask is key.
Kids generally do okay with cloth masks.
100% cotton masks can help with skin sensitivity and tend to be the most comfortable, especially if your kids now have to wear one at school all day long.
Giving them a few options, letting them play with them before you're trying to put them on the kid, letting them just kind of get used to them.
Experts say allowing your child to pick out their own masks with fun patterns or their favorite characters and even decorating it can help them want to keep it on. Plant says you should also set an example by normalizing mask wearing.
Not necessarily like talking negatively about them and complaining about them and trying to make it a positive thing.
Experts say you should start preparing your kids now to wear masks at school all day.
We need to start practicing now with them. And so you can't expect a kid to go from wearing it, 15 minutes inside a store to wearing it for 8 hours a day at school. And so practicing that at home, working up to it, and trying to keep it a positive experience.
Here's how to wash your child's cloth face coverings. The CDC suggests washing it every day after school. You can put it in the washing machine and use your regular detergent. Local experts say you can also just wash it by hand using hot water and soap and soaking it for about 5 minutes. The masks can air dry or you can throw them in the dryer. Experts say it's important to find what works for your family and make it a routine before the start of the school year. Reporting for WSFL TV, I'm Larissa Scott.
Getting back to work. Goodwill South Florida is hiring dozens of workers. And if you don't have the skill they're looking for, they'll pay you to get trained. We have the information you need. Next.
Goodwill Industries of South Florida is hiring over 100 employees. And if you think you need experience, the nonprofit is going above and beyond to provide services to those who need it.
We need sewers. That doesn't mean you need to know how to sew. We will pay you to learn how to sew.
You heard that right. Goodwill South Florida is paying candidates who are interested in working for the company to be trained in sewing for those who lack sewing skills.
We have quite a few entry-level jobs. So in apparel manufacturing, where we make uniforms for the military, we're looking for 100 jobs there, I would say. Probably a like number in our stores across Dade and Broward.
And it's not only about entry-level jobs. David says they're also looking for qualified truck drivers, counselors to watch after people with disabilities, and retail store managers. With COVID-19 affecting hundreds of thousands of South Floridians, especially with those with disabilities, David says he's grateful to be able to provide jobs during this difficult time.
This COVID thing has put an entirely deeper layer of hardship on the community, the part of the community that is least able to handle that. And we wanted to stay open as long as we possibly could, health-wise, and we wanted to restart as quick as we could, mainly out of concern for that sector of the community that really, really needs us.
I'm very grateful to be in that position because I know not a lot of people can say that, but at least I can, and I'm very happy and satisfied that I'm lucky enough to have that opportunity to still, of course, be in that position.
Michael has been working with Goodwill for over a year now and says he's looking forward to growing with the company.
My long-term goal is to just help the company out as well, and to hire up in position, and to just be a good worker, of course, and to do my job, of course.
They stay for an entire career sometimes. We've got one gentleman who's been here 49 years. We've got a raft of 30-year employees. And so that's okay too. And it's okay for people to come for a year and leave after a year or 18 months and really feel like they can handle that next job much better than they had it.
David said anyone can apply. If you have a disability, he recommends to call 305-326-4226 or email admissions@goodwillmiami.org. You can find more information on the jobs available or on how to apply on our website, WSFLTV.com. Just click the Rebound. As South Florida continues to rebound from the pandemic, it's important to stop and appreciate all the good that's around us. Every week on the Rebound South Florida, we want to hear from you, what you love about the community you live in. Tonight, we leave you with Isabella Bobadilla.
Very different from Miami. It's a lot calmer. Hollywood Beach Boardwalk is really known for, it's a very local beach. So you go to Miami and it's very touristy. You go to Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood Beach, it's very local. So I grew up here with my family, like barbecuing. It's very close to where I'm at. And it has the smoothest boardwalk ever. I love Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale area. Broward is amazing. It's my home. The food, the beaches, the people, is wonderful.